Live in just a second here, as soon as it lines up. Live. All right. We are live streaming once again on both Zoom and on YouTube for those of you that are checking in there. Quick introduction in case you are brand new to Fight for Your Business. My name is Jay Handler. I am the founder of the Fight for Your Business community. And we have a very, very simple message and a very simple mission. Our mission is to create 1 million jobs. We do that for a number of reasons. I'll give you the very short version of my story, my why. I was homeless in Orlando back in 1990, 1991 for about 9 months. And as you can imagine, if you've never been homeless before, you can imagine it's pretty doggone rough, right? I didn't have a car to sleep in. I was literally on the street. A lot of things happened over that time period. But the one thing that happened that changed my life forever was the night I recognized I'd seen them before. I had just never really seen them, right? I've noticed them, I hadn't seen them. But the night that I noticed that there were children out on the streets, I mean, little kids, 3 and 5 years old, out on the streets, just like I was, suffering the same kind of degradation, dehumanization, and everything else that goes with being homeless. They had nothing to do with what got them on the street, and they had no power whatsoever to get off the street. But I got off. And when I was able to get myself back on track, get a place, get a job, all of those things, I realized that the first step to getting out of that situation was finding a job, was getting gainful employment. And so I've spent the last 25 some odd years, 30 years, working with chambers of commerce, trade associations, and businesses all over the globe, working to help them increase their capacity, do more, grow their business more quickly. Because on your own, you can grow your business, but if you do it with somebody on your team, somebody who's been there before, somebody who knows how to do it, you're going to be far more successful, far more quickly. Most of my clients will tell you that after, 5 weeks with me, their business is 5 years ahead of where they would have been otherwise. And that's what we try and do right here. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? All right, hang on a second. I gotta wait for O'Malley to get connected to audio. Holy hell. Kevin, what in the world, brother? It's been so long. How are you? I don't know if you can chat. Probably should have checked that out first, but man, oh man, how cool is this? There he is, my guy.
It's amazing. LinkedIn does remind us about you.
That is so cool. How's things, brother?
I think of you often, particularly during football playoff time. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not bragging too much.
no, not bragging at all. No.
You left the chamber recently.
Oh no. No, not at all.
You didn't.
No, no, we're yeah, in fact we got some ARPA funds. So we've had just signed my final $2 million in grants that we put out in the communities. So
Wow.
that was a big project for the last year and a half. So now it's what do we do for non-core?
Nice. That's out. Man, I am just like overjoyed to see you, brother. I don't know if the smile on my face is obvious or not, but man, I am overjoyed to see. It's been way too long since we chatted, and I really appreciate you being here. This is very cool for me.
Well, I saw this morning and I was like, okay, it's a mastermind, but then I went, oh, it's basically a drop-in office
Yeah.
time, which is even better. And I went, oh, yeah. So I thought I would, it's before everybody gets in, there's a little bit of time and craziness goes on. So for you, it's consulting as normal or not so normal? What's yeah.
Well, so it's a little different. By the way, guys, bear with me for just a second as I go through this with Kevin because it's a great introduction for those of you that might be watching on YouTube as well that don't know who the heck I am.
Great.
So I started back in 2012, a consultancy called Membership 180.
Right.
And we were doing work with typically chambers of commerce, some trade associations, but we were helping them grow their membership. We were helping them bring in more dollars and have more impact on the communities that they serve. That's how I met Kevin and did some work with Kevin at his chamber out in Oregon a couple of years ago, or several years ago at this point. But when COVID hit, it became very difficult because as a traveling consultant, you're pretty much worthless when you can't travel.
Yeah,
And the chamber industry as a whole wasn't really ready for the whole digital revolution that came out of COVID,
certainly.
right? They just weren't prepared to go exclusively digital.
Mhm.
So it was very, very difficult to, maintain that business.
Certainly.
It's still up and running. I mean, I still own Membership 180 and I still consider the, two different businesses. But what I've done is I've taken the same consultatory approach that I've used with chambers of commerce and trade associations worldwide for the last 10 plus years. And I've adapted it back to what I was doing long before 2012, which was working with independent business owners and helping them as well.
Super.
So that's what we do here. We've created this community that I call Fight for Your Business.
Mhm.
And, my hope is that I get my chamber friends in here because I'd love for them to recommend this to their members.
Yeah.
I think that, we're going to give free consulting all day, every day. Well, okay, all day, every day, at least an hour or two every weekday, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m., usually until 1 p.m. We may start cutting that back a little bit, just depending on, how it plays out. But we've been running this for about 3 years. And we started out on Clubhouse. For those of you that aren't
Yeah.
familiar, Clubhouse is a social media app that is audio based. And Clubhouse was very, very good to me. I mean, very, very, very good to me. I built up almost 7,000 people following me. I completely replaced all the revenue from Membership 180. Membership 180 became kind of a secondary, believe it or not. And I mean, just a bonus money kind of a thing. But when Clubhouse decided to change their algorithm and change their user interface and their user experience, it was a major, major negative. I
Yeah.
mean, they just destroyed the platform. And we went from having, 150 to 300, sometimes 400, 500 people coming through the room on a given day to 30 or 40. And always the same people. Nobody new was finding us because not enough of the old people could find us.
Yeah.
So eventually, it took me 6 months to do it, but I finally cut the strings and we left Clubhouse officially for originally X, Twitter, Spaces,
Right.
but we were having technical issues there. And I just said, you know what, the heck with this. I was talking with my youngest son and telling him what was going on. And he says, Dad, why don't you just do it on Zoom? Well, why don't I just do it on Zoom? Well, that's an interesting concept. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, what are the benefits? Well, it's nonstop benefits, right? I mean, it's more professional than Clubhouse. We can have more speakers. We can, we have more control. We have visual. We have audio. We have, video. We've got all of these different things that go into it. It's been a very, very, very good move for us so far. So we're really excited about that.
Well,
Today,
you've always had the mad skills, so it's great if there's a gentleman that's got a 75-year-old business called Al's Garden Center here, and I did some consulting a while back, and I said, "Hey, what's the number one reason for your survival?" And he said, "Innovation." And I said, "What do you mean, Jack?" He says, "Well, specifically, I learned a long time ago that there's only one way to coast, and it's downhill. That if you're not getting better and you're not figuring out what needs to get improved, then you're coasting and you really aren't. You're going downhill." And from
yeah,
somebody who's been doing it for 75 years, I consider that pretty good advice.
no kidding.
Yep.
No kidding. That's awesome. Very, very, very cool. Um, yeah, there we go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. So what we're going to do today, I wanted to continue what we've been doing the last couple of days. And I want to go back to the whiteboard because it's been, for me, it's really helpful. Yes, it slows me down a little bit because, I have to actually think and type instead of just blurt. But if you guys will bear with me, I think it's going to be incredibly beneficial because what we're talking about today is your customer journey. And whether you're a chamber of commerce or a trade association or a business owner, doesn't really matter. We still have to understand the customer journey. All right. Call it a member journey if you like, or an investor journey if that makes more sense for you. But it's the same regardless. And what it takes is a little bit of planning. So let me pull up the whiteboard and let's talk customer journey. Everybody here is wherever they are, right? Right? I know that's really profound, but everybody here is where you are right now. My guess is that where you are is not necessarily the end destination that you have in mind, right? So we've got a situation where we may be here, but we want to go here. But how do we get there? All right, Kevin just said downhill is the easiest way to coast. We want to work smart, not hard, or at least smarter than harder, right? Working hard and smart is great. But one of the things that business owners and leaders of nonprofits as well really complain about is they don't have that life work balance. I know a lot of people, most people call it work life balance. It sounds better. But life work balance for me, I put life first because life should come first, right? Your personal should come before the work. The work is what you do to enjoy the life. So as we look at where we're going, having a roadmap is going to be incredibly helpful for us to figure out exactly how we're going to get there. And again, if you have no roadmap, what are you going to do? If you don't have a roadmap, then you're going to be kind of all over the place, up and down, left and right, all over, right? There's no telling where you are, where you end. I mean, you might be going in generally the right direction, but we all know that the shortest distance between 2 points, whoops, that's not a very straight line, but it's a straight line. So knowing that, we have to understand that regardless of what we call our customers, clients, customers, members, investors, whatever, they've all got this journey that they're going to go through from where they start, how they heard about you, to becoming lifetime members, to becoming lifetime clients, to becoming referral clients, people that are sending you more and more and more. Brand apostles is what I like to call them. So how do we get there? Well, the first step is we've got to identify two things. All right. We've got to identify our now, and we have to identify, obviously, our later. Okay. Where are we today? We've got to be aware of where we are right now. What is the current situation? And look, business owners, when they start talking to me, they don't necessarily always want to tell me all the facts. And I've had a few chamber directors that have done the exact same thing. They don't want to give me all the information right away because it's going to make them look like they're not as successful, like they're not doing everything that we thought they were going to be able to do, right? But when you started in this journey, or when you took on the position that you're in, you had a dream. You had a vision. You saw something in your future that you wanted to work towards. So we have a pretty good idea probably of what that later is, but we've got to be very, very honest about where the now is. And the only difference between these two, well, it's not the only difference, but one of the biggest differences between these two, I told you it slows me down a little bit, I apologize, is what I call the gap. Okay? The gap between the two is the problem. Because if it was easy, if there was no action required, it would be easy to just jump from that now to later. I'm just there, right? I'm just doing it the right way now. Okay, great. But if you're not there yet, it's because there's something that you're not doing, or some things that you're not doing, or not doing as well as you could be, as efficiently as you could be. So let's assume from here on out that anytime I put an arrow anywhere, that indicates there's a gap. Something needs to be done to help us bridge the gap from starting point at left to end point at right. Okay? This is action. The arrow shows motion because what's required here is action. What's required is you've got to do something. You've got to add pieces into the puzzle. So when you identify where you're at, and where you want to go, then we can start breaking it down into its individual pieces. As the customer journey, we have to look at the beginning. What's the beginning? Well, they've heard about us, right? They've gone from, I don't know you, I've never heard of you, to I've heard of you. All right. That's typically where the journey begins. Now, for us, it's not exactly where we begin because we've got to do something so that they'll hear about us. What are you doing that's bringing them in? So this really is the big, huge, hairy, scary monster. It's the lead gen. It's the part that everybody hates, but it's the part that everybody needs. And if we don't play this game right, we're not going to get the results that we want, right? So we've got to start with lead gen. And actually, I made this arrow the wrong way. There we go. So what are you doing for lead gen, right? When we talk about the gap, what are you doing? We can put all of those things here underneath the arrow to describe how we're generating the leads. Now, for some of you, I'll use Kevin as the example. Well, Kevin, do you have a membership person right now, or are you handling?
Me.
You're the guy. Okay. So right now, Kevin is in charge of lead gen for the Chamber of Commerce that he runs. Kayvon is in charge of lead gen for his business, as is Shuping, as is Khalid, as I am. We're all responsible for generating our own leads. So what are we doing? How is that happening? Well, typically, there's a social media component. Typically, there's some sort of advertising. There might be some sort of a lead magnet, right? Maybe that's what we're offering them to get them into our ecosystem, right? But whatever it is, we can continue to put things in here. This is a living document. This will continue to grow and to evolve as we go. So let's just skip ahead though for a second. Let's pretend, because we're not talking lead gen today specifically, we're talking about the journey. All right. But we've gotten them from random stranger out there somewhere to now they've either heard about us, seen us advertising, or they've downloaded a free lead magnet that we have available for them. So now they've heard about us, right? So what's the next step? Once they've heard about us, what do we want them to do? What do you want them to do? Everybody's quiet. Okay, cool. I'll tell you what I want them to do. I want them to become a referral base. Like, good Lord, Jay. You know, if I could spell, things would be much easier. I want them to become what I like to call a brand apostle. I want them to be a strategic alliance inside my organization. I want them working on my behalf, even when I'm not in the space. All right. So this is where I'm trying to go next. Boom, from here to here. That is a massive gap because there's a million things that have to happen in between here. So let's talk about those things. What's the very first thing we want them to do once they've heard about us? I would suspect in many cases, we want them then to what? Visit our website, maybe? Maybe that's what the lead magnet was all about. Maybe that's what the social was. Maybe that's what the advertising was. They came to our website to learn more about us, right? So we've got down here, come visit. Could be the website, or in some of our cases, Kevin in particular, maybe it's stop by and see us, come visit in person. All right. Guess what? Another gap. How do we get them there? How do we get them from they've heard about us to I'm going to visit your website, I'm going to call you, I'm going to, come stop by, I'm going to see your building, I'm going to see your business, whatever. How do we get them there? Anybody have any solutions? What are the steps? What are the processes? What are the tools? What do we need to do to get them to agree to come visit us some way, shape, or form?
Advertising,
Say it again.
ads, advertising.
Well, okay, so we've already done that, right? We did the advertising that got them into our ecosystem. They now heard about us, right? This is our ecosystem. They know we exist. All right, so that's great. In fact, this is so important that now we can call this a stopping point or um, a save point, right? Everybody's played video games. And at some point in the game, when you get to a certain level, it saves your progress there. You're never going to have to go backwards again. It's forwards only, right? You've made it this far. We're going to give you credit for having done it. You can save from this point on. That's what this is right here. All right. That's a huge, huge, huge milestone. And lead gen is incredibly important to get us there. But now they've heard about us. We want to take them from this passive, they know we exist, to this active. I want them to come reach out to me. I want them to call me. I want them to come to my place of business. I want them to come visit my website. It might be different, right? That's why I say come visit, because for you, it might be completely, you might decide that it's, I want them to call me. You might decide, I want them to email me. I want them to stop by. I want them to, whatever, visit my website. Whatever the goal here is, doesn't matter. But we want to take them from passive to active. Right? That is a huge hurdle. So how are we going to do it? Each of these things, our social, our advertising, our lead magnets, all of the different things that we do for lead gen should be pushing them here. Right? They really should. These should be pushing them back here. Because once they've heard about us, that's the easy next step. If our lead gen didn't do it, then we've got to figure out how we're going to do it. If you're putting together a lead magnet, for example, what's something that we can do with that lead magnet to help move them over to our ecosystem, to get them closer to us? Well, maybe in order for them to get the lead magnet, they're going to have to put in their email address. They're going to have to put in their email address to get our free content, whatever that is. It might be a free webinar. It might be a document or a workbook or a worksheet or a list or directions to do something, whatever, doesn't matter. Maybe it's an invite to a free session, a free meeting of some sort or another. Okay, great. That lead magnet, the intention should be to get an email from that person. Right? That's how we get them to come visit. It's really not about the visit. It's really about collecting contact data. That's what we're really trying to do. We want to get their information, right? Knowing that we're connected on social media is good. But what happens with social media? Every single time social media changes, everybody goes up in arms, and we got to figure out how to make it work again. And oh, by the way, all of these different social media outlets can ban us if they don't like us or if they don't like what we're saying. And we're under their control. We're renting eyeballs. We're renting ears. We're renting visibility because we're the product. Right? So we're just utilizing them to get our stuff out there. But as quickly as we can, we want to get to the point where we've actually collected their data. And this, to me, is another one of those incredibly important save points. Once we've done this, we don't have to go back to the lead gen. They've heard about us. They're in our database. They're in our ecosystem. And now we've solidified that by collecting their contact data so that we now own that relationship. Nobody can take that away from us except for them. Right? So once we collect that data, what's the next thing that we want to be able to do? Well, we want to communicate with them, I would think. What is that communication going to look like? What is the first thing you're going to do once you've collected somebody's data? I mean, obviously they're going to get the lead magnet. That's great. I would tell you the next thing you do is critical. Because if the next thing you do is try and sell them something, you're going to lose them. right? Imagine going to a bar, and imagine you're single and you're going to a bar, and you're talking to somebody and you've just met them. What do you think the answer is going to be if you ask that person that you just met 3 minutes ago at a bar to marry you? Ridiculous. Obviously, they're going to say no, which is why as soon as we collect their data, we can't ask them to come home with us. We can't ask them to marry us. We can't ask them to meet our parents. What we've got to do instead is nurture them. Okay, we've got to nurture them. We've got to take them from, all right, I've got your contact information. Now I need to nurture this lead. What does that mean? What does nurturing the lead mean? Well, one thing it could mean, and let's go back to our gap again, right? We got to take them from here to here. So what's the action we're going to take in here to get them nurtured? Well, we're going to add as much value as we possibly can. Free value. We're going to give them as much as we can give them to prove to them, to show them, hey, listen, we're not here for the buck. We're here for the help. We're here to be the support. We're here to help you get where you're going. Yes, of course, I want you to buy from me. Obviously. But we don't have to worry about that today. Right now, I just want to keep giving you value. I want to make sure that you know that I'm a damn rock star that you can't live without. Right? I want to make sure that everybody in his town knows that Kevin is the man. He's somebody they can count on. He's somebody that has value that they're going to bring, he's going to bring, their organization's going to bring to the other person's business, to the contact, to the prospect's business. Same thing with Shuping, same thing with Kayvon, same thing with Colin. We've got to deliver value. Now, this can take days, this can take weeks, this can take months, this can take as long as you want it to. And I think this is something that has to be continuous. Right? Even when we start offering them things at price, we still want to be offering them things for free. We still want to be giving them added value, extra, so that they're seeing the value in us. What's the point? What's the point in providing all this value? Anybody want to take a guess?
Can it be supportive?
Yeah, sure it is. The purpose here of the nurturing is really to become indispensable, right? We've got to become important to them, not just a commodity, but now important to them. So how are we doing that? Well, we're providing this extra value all the time. We're constantly trying to be of service to them, right? It's not all about the money. This could go on forever, but this could be real easily an email campaign. This could be a social media campaign. This could be, I mean, all sorts of different ways that we can add value to them, right? The point is, before we ask them for money, we have to become this trusted, right? Indispensable, trusted, known, liked, trusted. That's what we're trying to create here. That's what all the value is for. Proving to them that their life is going to be better with us than without us. Does that make sense? We need to become indispensable. And oh, by the way, guess what? When we do, it proves that they know us, they like us, and now they trust us. This is another save point, right? Once we've become indispensable, as long as we don't blow that, as long as we don't do something to deteriorate their trust in us, this is a constant now. So, all right, great. We've become indispensable. No worries. Appreciate it, Kate. I don't know if you're going to be able to stay in or if you're going to bounce out, but man, thank you for being here regardless, and I'll definitely catch up. We want to become indispensable to the client, to the prospect. All right, they're not a client yet. They haven't bought anything. They're just a prospect. Okay, we're doing all this work to become indispensable to them, to be that value provider, that coach, that consultant, whatever, that they know is there to help them become more effective, more efficient, sell more, make more money, whatever the case might be. All right. So once we get here, what do you think the next thing we want to do is? Well, this one's pretty obvious. I want to sell them something, right? I want to sell them something. Now, here's the challenge, or the next challenge. All right. I've become indispensable to them. So now they know that I'm providing value to them. I can help them. Now, you guys know, most of you know, those of you that are on the Zoom call with me right now anyway, you guys know that I have all kinds of different offers. Okay. I could offer you a course that you could take, fairly inexpensive, one-time fee, boom, done. Right? That's easy. Low cost, easy. I could offer you enrollment in my group coaching program, the Acceleration Academy. Low cost, monthly subscription, but now you're a recurring member. You're paying me on a recurring monthly basis. Or I could offer my one-on-one coaching program, Quantum Leap, where now you're going to pay one big lump sum for one long engagement with me, but it's going to be one-on-one, just you and me. There's the benefit. Got it. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate you, man. I've also got visitation offers where if you say, hey, listen, I want you to come to town. I want you to come to Little Rock, Arkansas. I want you to come to Cairo. I want you to come to LA. I want you to come to Cape Town. Or no, you're in Joburg, not Cape Town. Sorry, Shuping, I just geographically displaced you. I want you to come to my city and I want you to work with me and my team. That's going to cost a lot more money. Where do I start? Well, again, if you understand what we're doing here, this customer journey is a step-by-step, baby steps to the goal approach. So the first thing I want to do is I want to sell them something small. I want to sell them something that is going to be easy for them to say yes to. So maybe it's just a one-time thing. For example, I have a product called the Holy Grail. It's an AI prompt that I created that basically acts as a consultant in your pocket or on your computer. It'll help you create every document you'll ever need for your business, even if you don't know much about business. You don't need skill set to get the training, to get the information, to get the strategies, the tactics, the actual copy, the messages written for you, all of the things that you need. Now, you could come to me for that, and I could charge you for my group coaching program or my one-on-one coaching, but you could buy the Grail, this AI prompt, for $27 one time. That's easy. Everybody can afford $27 if I convince them that this prompt is going to be the be all and end all. This is the one prompt you need for artificial intelligence to be able to create everything you're ever going to need in your business. And oh, by the way, I'm going to make it a no-brainer, making it even smaller. I'm going to make it a no-brainer by not only making it incredibly affordable, $27 one time, but I'm going to make it a no-brainer by putting a guarantee on it. I will give you that prompt for $27 for life. But if you don't like it within 30 days, if it didn't work for you, if you can't make it work, if you just don't like it, no questions asked, I'll give you back 300% of what you paid. So instead of giving you $27, I'm going to give you $81 back. If you call me back or if you reach out and you say, hey, Jay, this is terrible. I don't want this. This doesn't work for me. Still keep it. I don't care. Shuping, what you got?
So this AI prompt actually, I've been actually meaning to ask you a lot more information about this thing. Does it work in marketing and communications as well? Like, is it something that you can use with your team to help you guys build effective marketing campaigns digitally? That is.
Well, so let me clarify
Is it one
that.
of-
And I'm going to hit on this very, very quickly because this is not, my intention is not a sales pitch today. I'm using this as an example, but I'm not putting up links and all of that. If anybody wants any of these things, reach out to me. Let me know. We'll have a conversation. But the Holy Grail is an AI prompt that asks you basically one question at the beginning. That's it. And the question is simple. Tell me everything that you know about your business. Now, the more you tell me, the more information AI is going to have now. More information is going to give the Holy Grail more power. Okay. But the Holy Grail isn't going to stop just because you don't have all the information. If you don't give it something that it needs, it might ask you for it. And if you don't know the answer, it's going to act as your COO. And it's going to answer the question as best it can for you to help you create the next piece of the puzzle. And it's guiding you along the way, the whole way. You don't need to know what to do. You just need to put that prompt into ChatGPT and hit enter and just follow the log, follow the directions. It'll walk you right through it. So you're going to tell it everything that you can about your business. But the beauty of it is that as it learns, as you tell it more and more and more, it's keeping all of that information and aggregating it all in one place. So let's say, for example, that you don't have a mission statement. You go to the Holy Grail, you plug in the prompt, and boom, there we go. It's going to ask you for everything you know about your business. And it's going to help you create a mission statement. It's the very first thing it wants to do. It's the first of the 4 M's that I teach, right? Creating that mission statement. So you've got that North Star, the guidance. If you haven't given it enough information to create a good mission statement, it's going to create one anyway. It's going to ask you, what do you think? It's going to be pretty good because it understands what kind of business you're in and it understands how to create a mission statement based on that industry. It's going to take what information you gave it, but it's probably going to be too long and it might not be as exact as you want it to be. So you just tell it, hey, I love what you wrote here, but let's change this. Yeah, I really don't do that. Let's change that and let it do it again. It'll just repeat. It'll just come back and recreate it for you. It's going to create your mission statement. Once you approve of your mission statement, it's going to create your ideal customer profile. And it's going to go through all kinds of information about your ideal customer. And you're going to look at it and you're going to say, yep, this is absolutely perfect. Or, you know what? Yeah, but. And you're going to give it the information and it's going to change it. As we go, you're going to come from the marketing, from that ideal customer profile through to the where. How do I find these people? Where am I going to find them? Where are some ideas of places that I can locate my ideal customer in bulk? And then it's going to work with you on your messaging. It's going to help you create the actual language based on the mission, your ideal customer, the medium you're using to communicate with them. It's going to use all of that to help you figure out what the messaging should be. It'll help you create hashtags. It'll help you create all of the content. But if you're using ChatGPT doesn't really do, I mean, if you're a pro user, I mean, you can, but it really doesn't do the graphics that you're talking about. So what it will do is give you a description of the graphics of what you could or should create for the posts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like what I'm basically what I'm basically getting, right, and correct me if I'm wrong. So this is like basically like you said, like it's more like a chat GP kind of thing. It helps with like business administration, like you said, like your vision statement and like your company messages and profiling and things like that, right? So it's not an sort of like a AI marketing niche or gimmick that like, that could like maybe make business proposals, that could like maybe automate business proposals or campaigns, is what I'm getting. It's more on the
I mean,
administrative side, or because I want to understand that so that I know, because right now what we're looking for, our organization was mainly looking for like a AI marketing type of software, something that can automate our proposals and campaigns, so that
right,
we can move faster and create more campaigns in a shorter space of time, as
sure.
opposed to your original method of creating campaigns.
There are other tools that are more suited for that. Right. And we'll talk
So
about that. Let's take that conversation offline. Only because again, I really want to get into the customer journey. I want to talk to you about the Holy Grail. But again, I don't want
100,
it to be an hour-long sales pitch either. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put a pin in that and we'll come back to it. Okay.
100%.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Cool. It's important. I want to go over it with you, but let's get there first. All right.
Yeah,
So
process.
first thing I want to do is I want to get them something small, right? I want you to imagine it's like fishing, right? You want to give them something that they can get, that they can chew, that they can put in their mouth. We want to be able to set the hook, right? But if you're trying to catch a guppy with a hook the size of a tuna hook, that guppy can't bite down on that. It's never going to take it. It's going to just move on past it. This is why we have to start really small. Our hooks have to be small. We have to offer them something small. Now, that's going to lead us to selling them something larger and then larger and then larger and then larger, bringing us closer and closer and closer to our end result of making them a brand apostle, a strategic alliance, somebody who's referring business to you, and so forth. But we got to start small. Once we get them into something small, then it's a much easier step. The gap is much smaller to take them from something small to something medium, from something medium to something large, from something large to something massive, right? But we got to start here. Now, once we've sold them something small, whatever that might be, and again, for you guys, it could be literally anything, right? For me, it might be the Holy Grail. For you, it might be a coaching session. It might be I don't know, a 60-minute
Media
consultation.
campaign.
What's that?
So I was like a media campaign, digital marketing campaign, because
Maybe.
that's how I like this. But yeah,
Sure. If that's small, then yeah, maybe some sort of a small campaign, something along those lines. Now, I want to take them from something small to eventually sell something larger, right? My next package, my next product, my next service, whatever it might be. Okay. But again, as with all things, there's a massive gap between these two, right? So how are we going to get them from, okay, I bought something small to, okay, I'm going to buy something larger? Well, guess what? It kind of goes back to here. It goes back to value. If you buy the Holy Grail from me, the next thing you're going to get after the Holy Grail comes out, you're going to be put into an email sequence. This is automated, right? So when you do this, here's what comes next. You're tagged so that I can send out an email sequence to you. That sequence is going to nurture you in the use of the first sale. Okay. I'm going to nurture you. Hey, Shuping, so I see you downloaded the Holy Grail. Have you tried using it yet? Here are some tips. Here are some hints. And I'm going to send maybe 2 or 3 emails that week. Just checking in. Wanted to make sure you're using it. Are you happy with it? Do you need any help? Can I be of any service? Right? But on and on, more tips, more tips, more tips. I'm nurturing them along so that they understand that buying something small was safe. This guy really cares. This person really cares enough about their business and about what they're offering that they're following up. They're not just hitting me with another sale. They're following up. They're nurturing me. They're taking care of me. They're making sure that I'm okay with what I've done, that I still know, like, and trust them. Why? Because the more they know us, the more they like us, the more they trust us, the more value we've given, the more valuable we become, the more indispensable we become, the easier it's going to be to sell them something larger. And guess what? Something larger after that. I'm not going to put it in there. You don't need it, but you get the point. Something larger, something larger, something larger. We're going to keep on bringing them down the walkway, right? One thing to the next. Now, it doesn't have to be in order. And in a lot of cases, it's not going to be. The reason that I was talking to you about all of the different products and services that I offer was so that we could come to this point right here. Because this is where it's going to get complicated. All right. So we've got them in our ecosystem. We become indispensable. We've sold them something small. What do we think the next thing that they're going to need is? Well, maybe it is the next package up. Maybe it's 2 or 3 packages up. So what's going to happen here, unfortunately, is we're going to have to start segmenting everything. That's why the email sequence and the tag is so important, right? So we tag them with, they bought this product in our CRM. So that now the CRM says, okay, anybody with that tag gets this email sequence, this nurture sequence. Now, eventually, inside this sequence, I'm going to have to make that secondary offer. Okay? That secondary offer could be for any of my products. What we have to understand, though, is, okay, so I'm tagged now with product or service A. Secondary offer is for product B. I want to get ready eventually. It's after the nurture, but my goal here is to offer that second product to sell them something larger. Now, what happens if they've bought this? You've made your secondary offer and they didn't buy that. Well, you're going to continue to make that secondary offer. You're going to continue to give them reasons. Nurture, 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 sell. Nurture, 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 sell. Right? We're going to nurture 3 times. We're going to sell once. Then we're going to go back and nurture 3 times. Then we're going to sell once. If they don't buy that secondary product after 3 or 4 tries, chances are that product's not right for them in this moment. Right? And we're not going to know that. This is all automated. We're not going to know that individually about them. But what we are going to do is we're going to say, okay, email sequence, if you don't get them to purchase this secondary product within X number of attempts, then you're going to let them out of this funnel, out of this email sequence, and into another. Third offer, or well, next offer for our product C. Now, keep in mind, this is assuming that they're not buying anything, right? This is where they're going to buy something larger. This is just trying to get them to buy anything after they bought number 1. Okay, this is what we're trying to do. This is the tactics. This is the strategy that we're using. Now, what happens though, Jay, if they buy one of the products? Well, here's the challenge. Something larger could be product A, it could be product B, and it could be product C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, however many you've got. All right. We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know necessarily which one of these they're going to buy as the secondary product. So here's where, whoops, I didn't do that. Sorry. So here's where we start to get into segmentation. Once we know that they've been tagged, they bought product A, we know that means they went through the sequence. They've been nurtured and nurtured and nurtured. They've been offered product B. They didn't buy. They've been offered product C. Maybe eventually they're going to buy one of these additional products, right? So we're going to continue to rotate our offers until they buy something else from us. We just don't know when they're going to do it or which one they're going to do first. So now we know, all right, well, they already have product A, right? They've already purchased that one. So now, how am I going to get them from product A to product B or from product B to product C? Well, again, we're going to have to create an email campaign, an email sequence. But there's going to be a sequence for those people who have bought product A and then product B. Another sequence for those people who bought product A and then product C. By the way, just out of curiosity, let me slow down a second here. if they bought product A and then they bought product B, what's the next product that that we're gonna try and get them to buy? What's the most likely product next? What's product C, isn't it? But what if they jumped B? What if they went from A to C? Well, I may come back and bring them another offer, a different offer for product B than the one that I used originally. But there's going to be an email sequence. It's going to be automated. And it's going to understand that everybody in the sequence has already bought product A. Now they're going to buy one of these other products. So we could have potentially, an email campaign moving them from product A. Why can't I get this right? Sorry, I'm grabbing the wrong things here. To get them, let's just do it this way. This will be easier. Sorry, there we go. We want to take them now from product A over here product B. Right? That's the whole point of this email sequence. But it might be another one. There might be a sequence that goes from product A to product C or D or E or F. Now let's say, this is where it gets complicated, but let's say now they've bought product A and they bought product C. They still haven't bought product B, but they've bought A and they bought C. They've seen B enough times that I don't want to show that to them too many more times. They've already made a decision that now is not the time. They're not going to be purchasing product B right away. So now, guess what I need? I need another sequence, right? This is sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3. I need another sequence now that takes them from, okay, you already bought products 1 and, or I'm sorry, A and C. What do you think I'm going to do next? I want them to do what? Buy another product. I don't care which one it is, D, E, F, or G. It doesn't matter to me. I want them to buy a next larger product. I want them to be spending more money with me. So now I've got to have one that says, all right, you've already bought programs A and C. Now here's program D. You need another one that says, okay, you've already bought programs A and C. Here's program E. You need another one that says, okay, you've already bought programs A and C. Here's product F. The same thing would happen if they bought B but not C. Now we need, okay, you've bought product A and B. You didn't buy product C, so let me show you product D. You didn't buy product D, so product A plus B, and now we're going to give you E. You didn't buy that one, so now we're going to go A, B, and F. This is a really complicated concept, but is it making sense? Am I making it simple enough? Or do I need to go back over it? For you math whizzes out there, I'm sure that there's a way that you could have described this better than I could, because what we're really talking about here is the overall, the universe of possibilities here. What could they do? Right? What happens if somebody's bought A, C, and E? What do I do next? How do I get them to the next one? I've got to have an email campaign that knows that they've already bought A, C, and E. They've already been tagged with having bought programs A, B, or A, C, and E. So the system now knowing that, and you've got to write it for this knowledge, knowing that they've done this, this, and this, but haven't done that, what's the next thing you want them to do? And you're going to have to go through this customer journey step by step by step, creating each piece of that to take them to the next, to the next, to the next. And eventually, once they become really good clients, they bought several things from you. They love what they bought from you. Now we can start that, in the nurture sequence, now we can start asking them, hey, how about helping promote us? Do you know anybody else that needs this one? Maybe that's part of the nurture sequence. So, all right, you already bought A, you already bought B, you already bought C. I want you to buy D, but first, let me thank you for your recent purchase of C. And hey, since you've been using A and B for so long, so successfully that you were willing to go to product C, maybe you'd be willing to share product A or product B with your contacts. We're pushing them towards the referrals because there's a huge gap between they've heard about us and they're referring us. There's a huge gap between they've heard of us and they're talking about us like a brand apostle would outside of our earshot. I know for an absolute fact that today, if Kayvon met somebody or bumped into somebody who said that they had issues that he knew I could solve, I don't have to be in the room. Kayvon is going to make that introduction. He's going to pre-sell it for me. I know that if Tracy runs into somebody in Toronto today, if Kevin runs into somebody in Oregon today, or if Chuping in Joburg, or call it in Cairo, wherever you are, if you bumped into somebody that you think, oh man, Jay can help them, they're going to refer me. They're going to send them to me. And all of this nurturing that we're doing, making me indispensable, has also made me not just indispensable, but unforgettable. So now they don't even need me in the room. They're automatically thinking about what's best for Jay, even though that's not the conscious thought. That's what their brain is doing. They've convinced themselves they want to help us. We've become unforgettable. They've become a brand apostle or a strategic alliance, helping us promote outside of our direct audience. Bigger, 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 more visible. Ask me questions. What are we missing? It's all making sense? Good deal. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube live right now, thanks, Kayvon. If you're watching this live on YouTube right now, go into the description of this video and you'll see a link that will take you to the Zoom. You can jump in just like Kristen just did. You can jump in and you can join us so that you can ask your questions live and be heard and be seen and all of those things if you'd like. Okay. If you put a comment in the chat right now, it's not being monitored. It's not being moderated right this second. So if you put something in there, if you ask a question in there, I'm not going to see it. All right. I'll answer it after the fact, but just know, yeah, I'm live, but I can't see because I'm looking at the screen. I'm doing the whiteboard. Okay. Real quick, before we continue, before we go to the next piece, Kristen, you are here because I told you, I gave you some homework and I told you, don't you come in here unless you have a question because you've got more important things to handle today. So I know that you being here means you've got a question.
Or a comment.
Okay.
Or a report.
Oh, even better. Okay.
So,
before you give me the update,
yes.
very quickly introduce yourself. What are you doing? What was the homework? Then let's talk about the results so far.
Okay. So
Okay.
introduce myself. My name is Kristen Carter. I am the founder of Taste and See magazine. Taste and See magazine is a world-class food, faith, and community magazine that begins and ends with Jesus Christ. And Jay has been, I would say tirelessly, but he doesn't seem to be tired, but he has been dealing with me for the past couple years. And due to a huge what is the word? I just lost a mind shift, change, mindset shift. Thank you.
Shift in mindset.
Mindset shift. And you listen to the replays from a couple days ago, which is tremendous. What is the title of those rooms? What are the title of those rooms, Jay? Or what is the title of that room?
I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the chat, but it's if you're looking for those, They're on YouTube Live, or well, they were live. They're on YouTube now, and it was called Fear of Success, Imposter Syndrome, and Monsters. There's a part one and a
Yes.
part two.
Yes. So I made a decision to no longer be afraid of the monster under the bed, even though the monster under the bed, I can feel him sometimes, as I did this morning with with some homework that I was given. Anyway, life changing. You guys need to watch that. So I overcame that and decided that I will every single day, independent of how I'm feeling, do lion stuff. Jay has said, and everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion stuff. Well, I made a determination to do lion stuff so that my business can reach the potential that I know it can reach, and B, so that when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to regret yesterday and what I didn't do yesterday that will move me forward, my life forward, my business forward today. So this morning I had a conversation with Jay, and I am launching this magazine. I needed direction from him, and he gave me some homework to make calls to churches this morning. Today, my homework today is to get enough on board that 10,000 digital copies of this magazine will get out to the parishioners of various churches. And so I was a little nervous. But again, that monster under the bed is just, I have nothing to fear. Started making calls, and what I have been running into today is not being able to talk to the pastor directly. It's the church secretary. It's okay. Yeah, this sounds great. Leave a message, or, shoot him an email. Here's his email. Okay. Fine. Great. But that means that my goal is not made today if I don't talk to people. So I started to get nervous, and then I said, okay, so no, stop, wait. First of all, you know that you can go and ask Jay a question. He's live. Go ask him. He can, give me an answer. But instead, I took a moment and I reached out to those that I know. I've already made connections. I already know that I made connections. But I was getting myself a flutter again. So I calmed down a minute, and I don't want to say the organization live right. I don't want to say the organization live yet, but a connection that I already made with a ministry, those 10,000 are going to get out. I've
Wait
already made the 10,000.
Wait a minute. You've already made the 10,000.
Yeah. Now, the magazine is going to be part of the mission of my magazine. Is I grew up, and my magazine begins and ends with Jesus Christ. So it is a religious thing. But so I grew up Jewish, came to know Christ. And so one thing on my heart is so that other people who are Jewish at least hear the message. And so this organization, it's a big organization, they are contributing, and they will contribute for Easter and a Jewish holiday, Purim. And then which is like in March, and Passover. But the take is, this is Passover, but you know who else celebrated Passover? Jesus. And this is what, so anyway, so they are writing a pretty significant thing, and this will get out. Now, what that can do, Jay, is push everything up 2 weeks. They cannot get me that in 2 days. This is like a pretty big undertaking.
Okay.
But I have the 10,000. So I will continue to plug away, but I'm thinking I would rather launch with all of that meat in place.
Absolutely.
But I have it. So yeah.
Absolutely. That is awesome. I mean, listen, okay, so it means that we're gonna, postpone the official launch, but okay, we're gonna launch with one organization providing us at least 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then I
Wow.
have leads for other really large organs. So instead of going to a church, it's a larger organization that partners with a bunch of different churches, a bunch of different businesses. And by me affiliating myself with them, then I am calling those places because they are part of Hope for New York, it's called. Then I am offering them free their people free for a year subscription to the digital magazine, which shares hope as they do.
And we call that a strategic alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen, scale of 1 to 12, with 8 being high, how excited are you right this minute?
I am feeling peace over excitement.
I love that. I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jay. Jay is frozen because he freezes every day at about 12:17 Eastern time. Something with his internet. So he will be back in a minute or so when his internet comes back on. And I will say more about the piece when I see his face. It usually takes I don't know why it does that. I missed part of the room yesterday. Did he say why it does it to any of you guys yesterday? I'm looking in the chat. Okay, so he's out and then he'll be back. Very weird. And I wonder if there's some way of him during that, when he knows it's going to happen, maybe setting an alarm and going from Wi-Fi to hotspot for a moment, so there's no break in the internet. I don't know. But there he is back. Are you here and live, Jay? If you are, you're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to. Whoops. Well, that didn't work. Let's
Yeah,
let's change
you're
that again.
looking kind of goofy.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Listen, I don't know why this is happening, but every day at 12:18, it's the same time every day. But every day at 12:18, for some reason, I get kicked off the Zoom. I cannot figure it out. I thought it was like a time thing, like I've got a time limit or something, but that can't be it because it's the same time every day, and I don't start at exactly the same time every day. So
12:17 on my, according to my clock, 12:17 every single day. So you might not realize it for a minute.
yeah, crazy. Anyway, all right. So, Kristen, what I was saying is that I need you to get the hell off of here. As much as I want you here,
Okay, I need to go make
okay?
some calls.
Well, listen, we got to 10,000. How much time did it take you to get to 10,000? How many phone calls? Let's ask that first.
It took me 2 phone calls, but I was doing some research of who I was going to call and some and other things.
Okay.
You know.
The research is done though, right?
No, not completely.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, either way, you and I got off our call at about 10:30 my time.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
So in less than 2 hours time, you've hit your goal of 10,000 people, 10,000 impressions.
Mm-hmm.
10,000 people are going to get this emailed to them.
Yes.
what's your goal for the day? Because it can't be 10K anymore. You're already there.
Um, my goal for the day, I don't know. I was thinking my goal for the day was just to keep on reaching out and see where I got.
Okay. Okay. Listen, if you don't want to put a number to it, that's fine. Let's just
I
go.
can. Okay.
If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. But
Okay.
let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. And when you get to 20, come on back and let us know
All
that.
right.
Maybe you can get to 20 before we close out the session in
The
39
pressure.
minutes. You got 39 minutes to get 10,000 more. Actually, let me take that back. How many? Because the first one isn't exactly 10,000. How many is it?
Oh, he said we can get it to at least 10,000. So it'll be, who knows? I don't have a clue, but 10,000 is all I wanted to hear, but
All right. Good deal. Good deal. So we don't know how many he's got, but we know he's got at least the 10K.
yeah.
So that's awesome. All right. Get your butt to work. You got
Okay.
stuff to do. You don't
All
have time
right.
to be
See
here
you
with
guys
us.
later.
Great job. And that is what I'm talking about, guys. I can't tell you how exciting it is when a client comes in the middle of a session to say, hey, what you wanted me to do, what you wanted me to achieve by 5 o'clock tonight, I achieved by 2 o'clock or by noon. And let's go higher. Let's just keep going. 90% of the time or higher. And I'm just making this up. This is just a number, right? I mean, this is just anecdotal evidence to me. But a vast majority of the time, your business is this close to success. You're this far away from that next level, that next plateau, that next whatever that you're trying to get to. It may look like it's forever away. It may look like it's difficult to get to. It may look almost impossible. And it may have taken you months, years maybe, of trying, and you're still not there. One little tweak, one little change of mindset, one little change of direction, one little tip, one little bit of strategy from a third party who can help changes everything. It's not about massive wholesale changes. It's about finding these tiny little tweaks that lead to quantum leaps. And that's exactly what we did with Kristen today. We moved from where we were to where we need to be in a span of 2 hours. I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to suggest something. If that is exciting, if you're as excited about that as I am, or even close, well, you can't be as excited, but if you're even close to excited about that announcement as I am, I'm going to encourage you. This is for those of you watching on YouTube. Okay. Everybody here on the Zoom is already a client of mine. That's not the issue, right? They already know how to contact me. But if this is resonating with you, if you're as excited for Kristen as I am, if you're excited about the possibility of taking your business to the next level, I want you to go down below into the description, and you're going to see a couple of things. One is a link for you to register for these sessions on Zoom every weekday, 11 to 1 Eastern. I hope that you'll do that. I hope that you'll register for those. But more importantly, right this minute, below that, you'll see another link that offers you a 30-minute call with me. My treat. It would be an absolute honor to invest 30 minutes of my time in your business. The call that Kristen and I had lasted about an hour. But it was because we were literally going through this process. We were going through a whiteboard of her customer journey to get her where she needed to go. We could have had that conversation in 20 minutes. And she would have had the success that she's having today from the information that we shared in 20 minutes. What do you think I can do with you if we get on a call? It's not going to cost you a penny. There's no sales pitch coming. It's my treat. It's my honor to help you get there. Now, let's not kid ourselves. You sell products and services. I sell products and services. Of course, I want to add more clients to my list. But that 30 minutes is not where I do that. That 30 minutes is invested 100% in you, in helping you get where you're going. Now, if at the end of that 30 minutes, you and I both think that I can help you, that this is a good fit, if you want to talk about what it might look like to work together, I'll show you the options. I'll be happy to make an offer at that point. But that's going to be after the 30 minutes. That's going to be a 5-minute conversation after the fact, if we both agree that it's something that we want to talk about. So I hope you guys will schedule those appointments, get on the calendar, and let's talk. What's the worst that happens? You spend 30 minutes and you get absolutely nothing out of it. That's the worst case scenario. This is a no-brainer. In 30 minutes time, I may be able to create a 50% bump in your business. I might be able to create a 25% bump in your revenue. Would that be worth a 30-minute call? And there's no sales pitch in there. I'm just going to help you. I hope you'll take me up on it. All right. Thus endeth the sales pitch. If there's anything that I can do to support you, please reach out. Guys, you can find me on all the social medias. I'm at Jay Handler, just my full name, Jayhandler. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, you'll find me. But please reach out. If nothing else, shoot me a message and tell me if you got value out of today's session. That would be, for me, that would be enough. I would love that if you would do it. You can email me, jay@jayhandler.com. If that's easier, whatever you want. But I'd love to hear from you and get to know a little bit about what's going on in your world. With that said, I do need your help with a couple of things. We still got 30 minutes or so left in the session. We'll keep going as long as we can. But I'm going to ask you to do me something very simple. All right. I'm going to give all of this away. I'm going to continue to do this every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern until 1, New York time, for those of you outside the US. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to ask you to invest 30 seconds in me. Okay? I'm going to invest 20. I'm going to invest 10 hours a week in you. I'm going to ask you to invest 30 seconds a day in me. Here's what I need you to do. You're already watching the video on YouTube. Go down below. You know where it is? Hit the subscribe button. That's number one. Takes half a second, right? Subscribe to the channel. That way, when we do these, if you miss one, you have a link to the podcast. You can go to it anytime you want to and watch it again. Number two, give me a like, right? Let's get some engagement going. Give me a like on the video. Takes half a second. Write a comment underneath. Take you 10 seconds. Tell me what you found valuable. Tell me if you found it valuable. Ask me a question. I'll respond there in the chat, in the conversation. It'll take you 10 seconds. But reach out, put something on there that'll help drive more people to watching this video, more people getting the kind of help that you're getting right now. Subscribe, like, comment, and the last one is share. Guys, please. Kristen is getting churches to help her send out 10,000 emails with links to her magazine. I'm asking you guys for the same kind of help. If you will share this video out to your connections via email, social media, whatever, when you share it, be sure and give them some commentary. Tell them why you're sharing it. Hey guys, I saw this today. I found it incredibly valuable. Here's what I learned. I'd love for you to see it. It's $10,000 worth of value, yours free. My treat. Here you go. Send it out. Let them know what they're going to expect. What should they be looking for? What should they be watching for? What should they be watching for? Man, this is great. Jay did this. Boy, this is fantastic. Listen to what Tracy had to say about that. Man, this Jay character is a goofball. Come watch him and laugh at him with me. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is. Subscribe, like, comment, share, and I'll keep doing this. Hell, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. But I'm asking for your help. I hope you guys will pitch in. With that said, I'm going to open it up for any questions from you guys. Nikolai, good to see you. Tracy, glad you're here. Khalid, again, thank you for being here. To the folks that had to drop out a little bit earlier, I know you guys are going to watch on replay, so thank you guys for being here. But I'm going to ask of my Zoom participants, any questions on where we've gone or what we're doing so far? Awesome. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
Can I ask something?
Please.
You gonna continue the session?
No, go right ahead. Go ahead. You got a question? Go ahead.
No, it's a question out from the session subject.
That's okay.
Make it a last.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you yesterday about Andrew Tate. Do you think there is something called a matrix and we must beat it?
Ask me that again. You're asking me about metrics and in what arena?
Do you think there is something called a matrix like Andrew Tate says, and we must
Oh, do me a favor.
beat that matrix?
Do me a
Yes,
favor.
yes.
I know you're talking about metrics, but I don't know what you're talking about otherwise. Would you do me a favor? Would you put your question in chat for me?
He's talking about the matrix.
Okay.
The basics.
Matrix, like the Matrix, the movie, the Matrix.
The matrix. Okay, I thought he was talking about metrics. But put it in chat so that I can make sure that I understand. I can usually communicate pretty easily with you. I'm not understanding what you're saying there, so I just want to make sure that I'm getting the right question, and I'll go ahead and answer that as quickly as I can for you. Okay. In the meantime, while Khalid is writing out the question for me, so I can get there, guys, I could do this all day long. We could continue on the customer journey, and I could continue to make this whiteboard more and more and more and more confusing. I don't want to make it more confusing. I'm going to leave it here. I want to stop with the journey here so that you guys can kind of see what we've done. But here are the basics. Here are the points that I'm trying to get across to you. Okay. You're here trying to generate leads. You want those leads to eventually become clients, referring clients, brand apostles, strategic alliances. What is the step-by-step that's going to get them there? Remember, every time you see an arrow, that means there's a gap. How am I going to get from this lead gen to collecting their contact data? Well, it's going to include social media. It's going to include advertising potentially. It's going to be lead magnets. That helps them hear about us, which is the next step along the walk. But in order to get there, we got to collect their data so that we can start communicating with them more. Eventually, all of this is going to point back up to this huge gap. All of this is fixing this gap or closing this gap, right? I want you to imagine, and again, I apologize for those of you on the Zoom call. You guys have all heard me say this a million times, but I want you to imagine a bridge over a canyon. It's a wooden bridge, and it only has slats every 4 feet. Okay, so imagine a gap. Well, I can't even get my hands 4 feet wide. Let's go here. let's go 2 feet. Okay, but if you had a gap 2 feet wide between each slat in this bridge, it's going to be really dangerous, and you're going to be really anxious about having to cross this bridge because you're going to see this huge hole between every step. And you've got to step over that. And you've got to make sure that your footing is right. And you've got to make sure that you're stretching your legs long enough. Because if you slip, you can fall through that crack. Now I want you to go and grab another slat. And I want you to put it in between those two. So now instead of, let's say, a 4-foot gap, now we've got a 2-foot gap. Still scary. I would still be scared. I would still be nervous walking across that thing. Because one wrong move, and again, there's plenty of room. There's still 2 feet. I can still fall through that. So now imagine if we put another slat in between. So now the gap is only 1 foot between. It's becoming easier, right? We can start to relax a little bit. It's not as scary. The danger has been drawn down from a level 10 to a level 3. But there's still that in your head, you can still see this 1 foot or half a foot gap falling straight down to the bottom of the canyon. We've got to continue to put those slats in the gaps. Filling in the gaps is what's going to fill in your product structure, your sales structure, your customer journey, your marketing structure, everything. Everything. But if you just look at it as one big giant step, I've got to go from, okay, generated a lead, I want them to buy from me and start referring me. Well, that's a massive leap. And there are not that many people that are going to be able to make that jump. So we've got to make it easier for them. And we do that by filling the gap with slat after slat after slat after slat after slat, on and on and on and on and on again. So that this, instead of being a dotted line with breaks in it, is one solid piece going all the way across. So that all they don't even have to look. They can run right across it. They can close their eyes and run across the bridge. What that looks like is business development accelerated. We're getting them from where you are, they've never heard of you before, to where you want them to be. They're your loyal customer. But instead of that crazy trajectory that we were talking about before, right? That roller coaster ride that takes us up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down until we finally get there. What we want, what we need, and what this process is going to provide is that straight line. Bam. Fastest possible route. How do I get from where I am to where I want to be the fastest? Here's my step to step to step to step to step. Now, understand, while this may be complicated, may become more complicated the more effort you put into it, most of this is going to become automated, right? If you don't have a CRM already that's making it easy to automate, reach out to me. Let me know. I'll hook you up with the best CRM that exists at a great price. But you can get a CRM that's going to make all of this, or virtually all of it anyway, automated. So you don't have to do all of this. Your website, your email sequences, your marketing projects are all going to be your best salesperson, moving people along the journey on your behalf. Once you set this up, it just runs. That doesn't mean it runs absolutely smoothly every time. You're going to find as you do this that, oh, I needed to add something over here, or I need to add something over here, or I need to change something over here. Okay. Your customer journey is a living document. Change it however you want, whenever you want. But keep looking for gaps. Keep looking for those danger zones where people can fall through. Imagine what happens if they fall through the cracks, right? This is your funnel. If they fall through the cracks, they land way down here, outside of the funnel. Can't have that. Free fall. Oops. Outside of the funnel. They are no longer in your ecosystem. They are no longer subscribing to your emails. They are no longer interested in anything you've got to do, anything you've got to say, because they fell through a crack somewhere along this line because we didn't have enough support. We didn't close those gaps with enough of the support. Think of each of these lines, each of these pieces of support as another beam. Those beams holding up that bridge, making it safer, making it sturdier. If people are falling out of the funnel and into, out of your ecosystem, something in here is missing. Does that make sense? That's how we win. We win by automating as much as we can, closing as many gaps as we can, giving our leads the shortest possible path from hearing about us, the top of our funnel, to referring clients back to us as happy customers, the bottom of the funnel. Your biggest job, if we wanted to simplify it, is right here. This is it. Your biggest job is making sure that they can't fall out of the funnel. It's shoring the journey up. It's making the journey more complete so that they can't fall off the path. I got to tell you a story. I gotta paint a picture for you, because one of the best examples of keep them on the path, don't let them off the path, keep them on the path, comes from my visit to Pakistan, to Karachi. The day we landed in Karachi and drove to our hotel, we were staying at, it was a very nice hotel. It was a Western style hotel. Wasn't a Hyatt. What was? Yeah, it was. Hyatt? Well, no, I'm struggling. Doesn't matter. It was a hotel. It was an American chain that had a location there right in the middle of downtown Karachi. When we got there, you can't just walk in. I mean, you can, but right off the street, as you turn into the hotel, there's two different entrances, one for pedestrians, one for cars. The pedestrian entrance is easy enough, right? There are armed people on the other side of the wall who will not let you in if they don't think that you're, if they think that you're a safety risk or a hazard of some form or another. The process of getting into the hotel from the car is much different. And it's really, to me, I think it's really kind of a cool thing. So what you've got is this main road. Okay, you're driving along the main road. And then on the side of the road, oops. There we go. Is our little door that pedestrians can walk through, and a larger gate that cars can drive through. Okay. When the cars drive through here, headed to the hotel, which is way over here, there's a reason I'm doing this, I promise. In order to get from the street to the hotel, you have to go through one of these two doors, or one of these two paths. Let me make this one smaller so I can actually write in here. Okay. Now, when you drive in, there's this really unusual setup where the road goes kind of like this, and then into a large parking lot, right? There are trees, big trees, lining this row right along here. Okay, these are trees. So let's just imagine that we've got this line of trees that you can't really see through. When you go through this gate, you're met by these two steel arms that come down, right? Imagine you're in a parking structure and they have the steel, the barriers. These steel barriers are there. As you approach them, the near one opens, allows you into this little flat area, and then comes down behind you. So you're the only one in this little space. If you've ever gone to have your oil changed, it's like going to get your oil changed. You drive over this little pit, and there are people underneath the pit, and they are checking out the undercarriage of your car to make sure that there's no bombs, there's no nothing. There are armed guards with dogs that are searching the rest of the car. They're circling around with little mirrors on sticks so they can see the other areas that maybe the pit can't see from. And once they've identified, okay, this is a safe vehicle, then this arm goes up and you can drive through. But you're driving through surrounded by these trees, which will not allow you to cut across. And oh, by the way, there's another set of trees over here and another set of trees, oops, over here. So bottom line, you can't possibly go from here to here without following this path. You must travel this path. And here's the weird part, or the part that might surprise some of you. On top of the hotel is what can only be described as a sniper's nest. All the way at the top of the hotel. You won't see it unless you're paying very close attention to it. But you will see that as soon as a car enters, these guys pop up with heavy machine guns. I mean, I'm talking heavy, heavy, heavy machine guns. Because if you somehow break through all of this and get around these trees and start heading this way, these guys, from the moment you turn the corner, have got you locked and loaded. That you are in range of their heavy weapons, and they've got plenty of time to mow you down before you get anywhere near the parking lot, much less the hotel. And there are more security features than that. But my point is, what they've done from a security standpoint, they've created a choke point. You cannot get where you want to go without going through the path that they insist you go on, the journey they insist you go on. Why? Because from a security standpoint, if they have to use deadly force, they're ready from all the way back here. You're never going to get anywhere near the hotel. And that's how they maintain safety, security, what have you, for their guests, for their staff, and everybody else. Does that make sense? This is what I want you guys to create. I want you guys to have choke points everywhere so that you know exactly what they're going to do. This is too big. This is too broad. I've got to break it down into all these different pieces and parts. I've got to have some trees over here to block their path. I got to have some metal arms over here to hold the car in place. I've got to have somebody underneath the pit looking up at the car. And I've got to have the dogs and the armed security circling the car. I've got to have the trees that lead me to that sniper's nest. You must go this way. There is no other way. And that right there is what I want you guys creating. Oh, I spelled journey wrong. This whole time, nobody told me I spelled journey wrong. Guys, that's the journey. That's it. I want you, as you start building yours, and by the way, as you're building it, reach out. I'd love to see what you build. Put it on a whiteboard. Send it to me. Schedule a meeting. Again, you can go to the link directly below this video if you're watching on YouTube and schedule a call. I'd love to go through your journey with you and show you, if there are ways that we can improve it to make it even stronger. But as you go through this, I want you to remember the Hyatt in Pakistan. Pretty sure it's the Hyatt. I want you to remember, they must go through my path to get here. Not their path. They can't just cut across. They're going to go my way, because my way leads them all the way down the path. Think about what they're going to skip if they just did this, right? If they just went up here and just tried to jump from there to there, which, by the way, is impossible. Think about all of this value that they're going to miss. Think about all the emails that they're going to miss. Think about all the product information that you're going to give them that they're going to miss. Think about all of the emails asking them if they need help that you would have sent that they're going to miss. I want you to design the most secure route from here to here. And that's what we do with the customer journey. Questions, comments, thoughts before we close it down? Let me take a look at college. You believe there's a matrix and we must rock it and be rich. Independence and beating it up. Oof. Khalid, let's do this. Let's let you and I talk offline. I'm still having a difficult time understanding the question. I want to answer it, but I want to make sure that I'm understanding the question. So if you don't mind, we'll talk about this offline. And with that, I'm going to ask you guys one last time for a little bit of help. Again, primarily for those of you that are on YouTube, but for everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to go down to the description. I want you to do 4 things for me. Again, these 4 things take you no time at all, 30 seconds. It's an easy request. I want you to do 30 seconds worth of work for me in exchange for 2 hours worth of training. Go down below, subscribe to the channel so that you get all the information that I put out. I put out 2 hours every day. I want you to have access to it. So make sure you subscribe. That's number 1. Number 2, give us a like, give us a comment, and give us a share. That is going to help us get out there to a much wider audience. More people seeing means more people watching. More people watching means more people learning, which makes more people doing better, accelerating their development, accelerating their business growth. More people making more money means more people who can spend more money, hopefully with you and your products and services. I hope this has helped. I hope this has been an incredibly valuable session for you. When you share this session out there, when you share this video or any video for that matter, be sure and tell people what the value was. Why are you sharing this? Don't just share it with no explanation. Tell them, hey, I got this out of this session. I stumbled across this video and man, you need to hear this guy. You need to learn this lesson. You need to see what they're doing over here. Love me, hate me, either way, it's okay. Tell the people that you send this out to. Tell them, you need to watch this because I love this guy. I hate this guy. This guy makes me laugh. This guy's so stupid. I don't care. Thank you, Kayvon. Appreciate that, man. Put something in the comment that gives them a reason. Remember what we're doing. Where to go? It's nurture. Help me nurture our audience, not just mine, ours, yours and mine together, by telling them what they're going to get when they join us for one of these masterminds. As a reminder, we do these every single weekday, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. If you go into the description, you'll see the link for the Zoom registration. You can register and join us live right here on the Zoom, where you can participate a little bit more. We will have a moderator next week on YouTube, so I won't have to necessarily drag you over here so you can participate. I'll make sure that we've got somebody monitoring what's going on YouTube so you can ask your questions there as well. But for now, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate business owners because what you're doing is giving yourself, your family, and those people who work with you, work for you, or pay you, your vendors and your customers all benefit because of your business. Every single one of them. And if we are ever going to end childhood hunger and childhood homelessness, the way we're going to do that is by creating more opportunity. And when you put together your customer journey and you learn how to streamline the process of bringing people from lead to lifelong customer, brand apostle, strategic alliance, that's going to increase your revenues dramatically and quickly. Let me know what I can do to help. Let me know how I can serve you. Let me know what questions you have. And I will see you right back here again tomorrow in the Fight for Your Business Mastermind sessions, 11 a.m. Eastern time, New York time for those of you outside the US. And have a phenomenal weekend. Go do something incredible for your business. Shut down for the day and go do something incredible for your family or a stranger. And I'll see you on Monday.